Meantime, the Supreme Court issuing a major ruling today in a cell phone privacy case. In a 5-4 vote, the justices determined that police generally need a search warrant if they want to track criminal suspects using their cell phone information. Now, in the past, investigators could go to phone companies and get info without a warrant. Analysts say this decision could impact a lot more than just the phones. Will Bruzzo is here. He's a criminal defense attorney and a former military attorney. And we talked earlier, Will, that, I'm surprised this decision came down 5-4 because the reality here is, doesn't it seem like common sense? If you're, your cell phone, they want your information, they should be able to go to a judge and say, look, here's the probable cause.
Absolutely, Trace. And what this is a steady trajectory by the court, recognizing that in this era of modern technology, the rules are going to change. And a cell phone is a very private item. Just a couple of years ago in Riley versus California, the Supreme Court decided that you needed a warrant before you searched a phone. You just couldn't search it if you found it on a suspect.
Yeah, I remember covering the Scott Peterson trial, and the whole thing was, it was triangulation, right? So it was triangulation, and they worked in that whole thing, and it was critical to kind of piecing together exactly where Mr. Peterson was when his wife's body was found. But same thing, you had to go through and get warrants, and you don't really have to. Is there any example you can think of where you need this stuff right now?
I agree with you. I don't think it needs to be acquired immediately. There's plenty of time to get a warrant. I think that the Fourth Amendment prevails here. It's very easy to present your evidence to a judge and get a judge to sign off on a warrant. It's not something exigent where the evidence might disappear. Apparently, these cell phone companies keep this information for years.
Yeah, and I guess I was reading this, 300,000 cell phone towers now in the United States. So they know where you are every step of the day. If your cell phone is on, they know where you are every step of the day. And I guess the reasoning here, Will, is that what they're saying is once you buy your cell phone and once you turn it on, you are giving consent to be followed. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, that's correct. Here's the thing is, a couple times a minute, your cell phone checks in with a tower. And so they know where you are, a couple times a minute. So that sort of personal information where they can locate your body, clearly private information, and the Supreme Court's protecting it here.
I'm curious because, everywhere you go, you talk about, hey, they know where you are. I see surveillance cameras everywhere.
Right.
Surveillance cameras are like, hey, you walk into a gas station and there's a surveillance camera. You walk out of this building, surveillance cameras. But when the police want to find out if Mr. Gallagher was in this convenience store, they can't just walk in and take the tape. They've got to go to a judge, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
So that's kind of part of this whole thing.
Well, I think what they're saying is, this is an intrusion into your privacy, and before they do that, they have to have something from a judge. It's not like, bank records or something like that. This is something separate.
Will Bruzzo, thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.